Hello, everyone. I'm going to do a quick double check just to make sure the stream is working, and then I will get started. So bear with me for 1 second. Um, there has been a few too many times when I have started recording something, and then there you go. I am live. Just going to test the audio. Sorry. Sounds good. I usually have a mic set up. This time I'm using headphones. Either way, welcome everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Chloe. I am the founder of the Marma J Foundation. That's a nonprofit based in Canada trying to leverage Web3 tech for social good. If you find that interesting, feel free to message me, DM me after. I'm Chloe the Dev on almost every social media platform. Also, I am the director or founder of a nonprofit called Back Inc. It is a nonprofit based in Antigua and Barbuda in the Caribbean. And that nonprofit aims to empower youth tech entrepreneurs based locally in the Caribbean. I find as though there's actually many opportunities for youth entrepreneurs, like maybe such as yourselves that are watching this workshop. Many opportunities for Canadian students, American students. I mean, I was at Collision last year, and there's so many small business grants and funding available. Not as true for other parts of the world, and so I try and support that as well. Over the next hour or so, I'm going to be digging into, again, 0 to 1 on Near. What do I do on Near? What do I build? And also, you guys are hacking this weekend. So, what might you want to build or engage with in the Near ecosystem? So, let's get started. Um, Again, founder of Marma J Foundation, Back Inc. I generally focus on Web3 education and research. Personally, I love Web3 research. I think that as a researcher, the idea that most interactions are at least somewhat public, so the average user on a blockchain ecosystem is probably managing their own private keys. These days, we see lots of applications where companies are managing private keys for their users, but still that data is all public. So as a researcher, you can pretty much look on a dashboard and kind of download all this information to your server or whatever else and analyze it to your heart's content, which is pretty cool. Education, I think I mean, it's not really much fun to do things on your own. Why not do things in community? And so by teaching others, I'm able to learn. I'm able to help others elevate what they're doing, and hopefully we can do more things together. So I try and just generally, when I boil everything, I do lots of different things, but I boil it down to spreading love and positivity, supporting others, trying my best to be, additive to the ecosystems that I'm a part of. So, without further ado, starting to spread the love right away. If you would like to receive a Near account, Near NFT, you are able to do so. You can scan the QR code that's available here. If you don't trust scanning QR codes, even if they have hearts on them, great job, great security there. You could use a friend's phone to test it out, see if it works first. Or I have a QR code at the end and a link in this video where you can actually click the link to a workshop outline or all the links, or you can have a link to this presentation. So if you miss anything or I go too quickly, you can always rewatch the stream, watch it in 2x speed, always good to save some time. And you can, if you like reading it, you could read through the outline as well. So that'll be available. It's in the description of the video, so you can do that. So there's one NFT. These NFTs were created by the Marma J Foundation community. We have hundreds of artists that have engaged with our community over the years, and some of them got a bounty to create some small comics. These comics were actually printed in physical copy. We brought them to ETH Milan last year, and we gave them out. What was really cool was seeing people that were able to interact with Near without even understanding the language of English. So I only speak English, a little bit of sign language, and whatever else, but English mainly, and most people that came and spoke to us only spoke Italian, but we were still able to hand them a physical copy. They actually really wanted something physical. We were able to have them scan the QR code on their phones, and they were able to start using Near instantly because there was a platform called Minsta. I'll showcase Minsta in a bit, which allows people without any gas fees to be able to take pictures, which then get minted as NFTs using a relayer to pay for the transaction. Because again, every blockchain transaction has a fee. That is the same for Near. But again, in my opinion, if you're hacking, trying to build a product that's really impactful and cool over a weekend, in my opinion, Minsta, Mint-based wallet might be a great way where you can, show the judges, hey, judge, scan this QR code, get a wallet, and you can interact right away, through meta transactions or using a relayer. So again, there's the official HawkHacks NFT as well, which I know is a mint-based wallet NFT. So if anyone has not claimed this already, feel free to claim. But if you have already claimed it, you already have a wallet, so we can move on. So now what? I mean, most people that I know, at least, and even for me, when I go to a hackathon, ETH Global hackathons, for example, there could be dozens of blockchains there. They all have bounties available. They all want you to hack on their project. You might be able to get a free wallet. Maybe it's EVM compatible, so you have an Ethereum account. And with something like MetaMask, for example, right, you're able to, log in and change which. So you could have dozens of accounts right here on MetaMask. But what next? What do you do after actually getting that blockchain account? So the first place I would say is the near documentation. Um, the near docs, actually, I know there was a workshop previously going a bit over near docs and near CLI. It is the place where I generally say people should start. I will go over it a bit here. If people have questions, you can leave them in the description, but it's relatively self-explanatory. Um, Understanding near, how to build smart contracts on near, what are components. If someone's talked to you about the boss before, you can generally have decentralized front ends and create like JavaScript, React based components that work. So if you're already a front end developer, you might want to start on the blockchain operating system or BOSS. It has a new name now, BOSS Web Engine or React Web Engine, but either way, Web3 components. You can take those Web3 components and have a full Web3 application. And there are quite a few developer tools available, SDKs to build with, the near CLI, which I'll go through a little bit, and APIs to use to get information from the blockchain. Also, obviously, you can query information if you are into data or indexing or any of that fun stuff. You can try that as well. So this is the Near Docs, docs.near.org. Again, I have a list of all these links in the slide and in the overview. Again, I won't be spending too much time on the docs specifically. I know there's like people at the venue who might be able to spend more time with you, but this is a great place to go if you're like, hey, now what? I have a Near account. I want to interact a bit deeper. I'm into, Rust and, getting a little bit low level and digging into smart contracts. There you go. You can learn about building smart contracts on Near. There are some primitives that exist, fungible tokens, non-fungible tokens. Those are kind of also, standards that, exist in the ecosystem. Wallets already integrate fungible tokens and non-fungible tokens, NFTs. Marketplaces integrate these standards as well. And I'll go over this again a bit later in the presentation. Um, so yeah, feel free to go through some of this. When you're under building Web3 applications here on the left-hand side, there's a quick start guide. Sometimes I learn best personally when I just jump right in and start playing around with something when I'm trying to code or learn something new. So you can just go straight to the quick start. How do you interact with a smart contract? How do you interact with a component? And you can go for it. So NPX create React app latest, and you are pretty much good to go, at least start playing around. You can use GPT and the docs and everything else and start seeing what you can create. As well, we have the near CLI, which I think is always a bit of fun. I will clear my terminal and I will get into a bit of the near CLI. So normally I have my terminal, handy terminal right here. And when you're interacting with the near CLI, you just do near and you start writing out whatever you'd like to do. So I already installed um, the near CLI. So the command here is npm install -g, install it globally, near CLI, right? So here is the command. I already have it. So when I click it, I might try and update it. Let's see if I have any updates available. But here you go. Now again, generally when I'm using the near CLI, I might be using it on mainnet because I'm trying to look up the most active validators, for example, or I'm trying to look up my most recent proposal onto a DAO, or I'm trying to call a contract. So you can do view calls, or you can do an actual near call and submit a transaction to the blockchain using the near CLI client here. But you are also, so yeah, you can do near send, but again, you could change the network to testnet. Usually when I am changing my network, it doesn't even have it here anymore. Um, I just try and completely always use one network or the other. But again, you can just say use the test network and send some tokens, for example. It doesn't matter which way you put it. You could do dash network mainnet or put it, before as well. So here you can just set up the whole global environment. So if you don't want to be changing your network every time from mainnet to testnet, and I'll explain a bit later why you might want to use testnet instead of mainnet. But again, if you don't want to be changing this all the time, I could just come here. I actually do have updates. Here you go. Why not? So here we go. Let's update. Oh, it doesn't like us. I'm not gonna go through changing my node package manager right now. Let's not do that for now. But anyways, you can come here, change your network to testnet, and now whenever you call a command to the near CLI, you'll be looking at testnet information. So if you are hacking this weekend, for example, you might not be using mainnet at the beginning. You might want to be able to check out your contract or what's happening to the near CLI. You can change to testnet and start interacting. Um, a lot of other things you can do through the near CLI. You can manage your access keys. You can add keys to your account. So you can add like function access keys, for example, to allow another contract to call a certain function. You can pretty much do anything you need to do to manage your accounts, your contracts, as long as you have the private key there locally, you are able to interact. So one way to do this, so let's actually go back to mainnet. The simplest way to interact is just near login, for example. This will, I'll pull it up over here. This will pull up the current account you're logged in with. So this isn't going to be connected for me at the moment. But when you type in near login, it'll automatically try and put a private key from your account you're logged in with onto your machine. So let's say you already have the Mint-based wallet and you have the private key for that and you've logged into some wallet, you can use near login to get that private key onto your device and be able to interact. This is normally more useful for testnet accounts because again, with your mainnet account, you might not want to have a private key on your local machine. But for testnet and building, developing, that might be exactly what you want to be able to quickly access your access keys on your machine. So again, here's the near login. You can change your network ID. Um, uh, so yeah, it's relatively straightforward. You can create an account directly from near CLI as well. So if you're sitting there like, hey, I have my near account I made from the NFT drop, that's awesome, but I want to just create quick dev accounts. You can do that as well. Generally, when you're creating accounts, you got to fund it in some way. So there is some linkage between, let's say I wanted to create an account with Chloe.near. The new account, let's say, would be HawkHacks.near. I'd have to fund that new account with Chloe.near. So that's something to think about. But you can also make sub accounts. This is pretty fun as well, in my opinion. So let's say I have, my project.near, and I wanted to create an NFT for that project. I can do nft.myproject.near. It's a great way to use sub accounts or subdomains to keep track of your project. Many projects in the ecosystem do this, where they'll have their main smart contract and they'll add, market dot main smart contract dot near, and they'll have like nft dot main smart contract dot near. It also allows you to keep each sub account can have its own private key, so they're completely independent accounts. So you don't lose access. If I have nft dot project dot near and I lose access to project dot near, I can still keep working on nft dot project dot near. So trying to be clear, I would suggest testing out sub accounts. It's pretty fun, pretty engaging, and you can do it all from your near CLI. So again, all examples you can just copy and paste and start playing around with. Once you have one near account, you can find a different one, and you can start creating sub accounts on top of it. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense. Some other fun things to call would be like near state Chloe.near. So you can start seeing the state of an account. Um, So how much storage is paid, how much storage is used, the formatted amount of the near included in that account. Um, You can deploy smart contracts to a certain account. So I can, right now, there's no smart contract on um, Chloe.near, but you can deploy one right here using the near CLI. So again, if you have a smart contract, you might build that smart contract into WASM. Let's say you're using Rust. So you need your account ID, Chloe.near, that I want to put the smart contract on, or maybe contract.chloe.near. Maybe I don't want to put a smart contract on the account I'm using every day, like my daily driver account, but maybe I do want to have an account on token.chloe.near or nft.chloe.near, and I want to sell some NFTs or have a new hackathon project. You can even do HackHawks24 or HawkHacks24.chloe.near and always kind of maintain your hackathon projects that way. Either way, you kind of have you build your smart contract with a WASM file, and it's really simple actually. Near deploy, uh, this is your contract you want to deploy to. So example contract.testnet. And here is where I have my WASM file on my local machine potentially. And there you go. I've deployed a contract. It's actually quite straightforward because you can fork contracts. So I'm going to show in a bit where you can find some open source contracts in the ecosystem. You can just fork them. Uh, build them, and then deploy the smart contract, and you could just keep updating it and do whatever you'd like. So I'm not going to go through everything in the near CLI. It is relatively straightforward, but I would suggest maybe spending a few minutes looking through the near CLI documentation and trying to find which of these quick flows might be useful for you. So creating accounts, checking status, deleting and adding keys, sub accounts. These all might be useful methods. I usually like looking up things like validator information or listing the keys for an account. So, near list, I thought it was just near keys, but so this could be a way, maybe you want to create a platform that shows all of the keys on a certain account and allows users to consolidate keys. So for example, many times, I'll try and show an example. So we have pixeltoken.near, mintbase1.near, social.near, but okay, here, I have a key here for social.near. I also have a key here for social.near. I have a key here for social.near, another key for mintbase.near. And so all of these keys do add to the storage of my account. Again, I can try and show this in a bit actually here. When I go to my near wallet, for example, okay, it's going to make me log in. And I go to my account, I'll be able to see all of these full authorized accounts. I can view all, and this is the same information that I'm looking at on my terminal. And you can see that I have, 0.25 fee allowance here, 0.25 fee allowance here. That is the fee allowance for uh, the gas fee, or sorry, to interact with a new contract, you have some sort of fee engaged. Now, this is not additive, so it's not like I have to have 0.25 plus 0.25 plus 0.25 in my account. It's just the 0.25 initially, but each of these keys does add a bit of storage to my account. So it is a good idea to try and, so some of these have been used to a certain extent, that it's an allowance the contract has to use on your account. Some of them have been used, but some of these are just empty keys, like gas keys, that are never going to be used. Because every time you log into an application, you'll notice this, you need to add a new gas key. So maybe you make an application that checks, does this account already have a gas key for this contract? If so, maybe ask the user to top it up if it's getting low. And if it's already there, maybe don't have another one added to the account. That could be a simple hackathon project, just adding to the user friendliness of the Near ecosystem, as an example. So, sorry, going back to my wonderful and handy list of projects. I'm gonna try and go quickly through them, but now that I'm not in person doing this, you guys are gonna have to suffer through me for a bit longer. I'm gonna make sure I go through everything I need to get the message across clearly. So if you have any questions as well, I'll try and get through those and in the comments. So feel free to ask. Usually I have my chat section up. Chat rate one. I do have my chat here, so I'm gonna open that up. Sorry. I was slacking on having my chat open. Got it. Awesome. I'm loving this from Nedlar. HawkHacks, hashtag HawkHacks, love it. And thank you everyone for being here on the channel. If you guys have any questions, I do have my chat up now, so you can definitely uh, ask. I can't spell properly, so deal with that. This is why used to be love being a developer. Anyways, some block explorers to look into. So after let's say you deploy you forked a contract on Near, you have it on your GitHub, you deploy it to some random testnet account. like Chloe, project.chloe.testnet, and you're like, okay, well, what just happened? I don't really, I understand that I deployed something, but how do I look at it? So this is, I'm going to close my terminal for now. Sorry about that. No need to have that up. But let's say you are trying to look at something. So if I want to look at an account on Near, I can use nearblocks.io. I can search any Near account and I'll get a bunch of information for it. So if you're used to Ethereum or an EVM-based network, you will have probably seen similar, like Etherscan or other block explorers. On Near, we have Near blocks and we have Pikes Peak. They both have different use cases. You can log in with your Near account to both of them. So I'm logged in right now as hawk-hacks24.near. Woohoo! And it does allow you to call some transactions on contracts as well. So if we go to pixel token.near, just because this is a contract I know of, so I'm looking it up. I should be able, well, it has to load for a bit. I should be able to open the methods on the account and I should be able to start interacting. Hopefully that comes up soon. But as well, let's say you are a bit more into data. So NearBlocks is open source. Great. You can pretty much fork that yourself, put up a new version of it if you think that's something you want to do. If you are interested in kind of making your own dashboards, let's say, maybe you want to showcase at the end of the hackathon how, a dashboard or how many people have interacted with your testnet project. You actually, all this information that you see on Pikes Peak is very similar to the information you would see on NearBlocks, right? Um, and also, maybe because it's an assembly script contract, I think that's giving it some issues. That's okay. I don't want to take too much time. You can get an API key. So you can get an API key. I can reset it, so don't worry. If you when you want to steal my key, that's fine. You can keep resetting your key, no big deal. But it does allow you to with the doc. So doc dot this is one of the few products that doesn't use docs with an S. It just uses doc with a DOC. So I'm going to drop that because that's a bit confusing for me. But you could actually start playing around with this as well. So if you want to parse execution by contract, you can start playing around with the contract here, the method, and you don't need to put so default you can put 0 and just default at 50 for the limit, the number you're going to get. But you can try out all of these methods right here, generally for free. Maybe I have to authorize. I probably do have to put my API key in here as well. So I take my API key, I'd copy it, um, I'd drop it in, I'd authorize, and then I should be able to start trying things out. So, um, account, parents. Oh, this one's kind of fun. Let me try this out. Um, get parent of a given account. So if I put chloe.near in, so maybe you wanted to see out of all the accounts that have interacted with a certain contract in the past, month, who was creating these accounts more often? Maybe there was a bounty to see who can go out and create the most accounts out there. So you can see, where's my parent? Pull it out near parent. Here you go. This is my wonderful parent. I'm not gonna tell you what that account is, but anyways, that is correct. You can also see this already on Pikes Peak. If I go to search Chloe near, and they actually have more than this. They actually have your linked account, which is pretty wild. So again, a use case of this is not just getting someone's parent account, but also potentially trying to use the data that exists on the blockchain to try and get linked accounts. So what account on Ethereum or Aurora is this Near account interacting with? So this is actually pretty scary. It is actually correct. But for example, these are two Ethereum accounts that I do manage, and you can see the information there. Okay, let me try and keep my bitrate up. Let me try and close the pages I've already used. And I'll go through a bit more about pixel token.near in a second. Let's try a different one. So marmaj.sputnik. Oops. So yeah, you can do all this on testnet, which I want to show quickly as well. Actually, maybe they removed it. You used to, oh, there you go, contract. So again, the contract I was showing previously was an assembly script contract. So it seems as though NearBlocks wasn't able to assess, um, analyze the contract. But for normal Rust-based contracts, you can actually click contract here. You can see the contract methods. I am connected. This is why I'm logged in with my handy dandy HawkHacks 24. So you can update, state blog, claim bounties, anything you can do on the actual application, you can do right here in your blog. So maybe you don't have the time this weekend to make a UI for your smart contract, but you can be on testnet. I cannot remember many testnet contracts. I'll pull one up in a second. So for example, sorry, this is ref finance. I'll go through it in a bit, but I'm just trying to pull up a random testnet contract that is written in Rust so that we can look at this fun stuff. But let's say you deployed a fork of ref finance, right? You wanted to fork, have your own decentralized exchange to make some edits for your hackathon project. Again, you could take ref finance, fork the entire code, redeploy it yourself, make some small tweaks, and there you go. You have a DEX on testnet. You might have to make your own. So here you go. On these testnet environment in these testnet environments, you will probably have some interesting tokens. So USDT.fakes.testnet, right? So if someone has fakes.testnet and they deployed a bunch of tokens on fakes.testnet so they can interact with these decentralized exchanges on testnet. So there's different people, there's Burrow. So you might have to, a lending protocol also has a project on testnet, but you can go to the contract, you can go to contract methods, let's see. I probably don't have any testnet account logged in on this browser, but let's go through it. Um, uh, because I hope that most of the hackers here, I usually delete my password right after, so I usually create it, not now. Hack. Oh, and it's HawkHacks. What am I doing? HawkHacks 4. There you go. So I'm going to reserve my account ID, secure passphrase. This is obviously not very secure, but this is testnet, so you can generate a new one as much as you want. I could move it to a different screen, save it, and whatever else, but that sounds like a lot of effort at the moment. So I'll just put it in my nice browser and continue. It wants word number 11. Okay, private keys have 12 phrases, 12 words on here, at least these ones, mnemonic phrases. And so I can drop that in, verifying complete. And now I have a wonderful account on testnet. So those near CLI calls that I was talking about previously would now work. So if I did, uh, let's just keep it simple, go to testnet, here, login, here we go. Oops, I should probably do that first. And then on my other browser, okay, well, I have to pull it up on here so you guys can see it. So this is the link that I got from my terminal, right? This is just the link right here. If your browser doesn't automatically open because of this URL. So sometimes, for example, I'll show this as well. This is what opened for me automatically. It went straight to Chrome. Because that's the browser that opens automatically when this happens for me. I have a bunch of other testnet accounts. It creates a full access key for that on your local machine, or if you're using a server, it'll create it for wherever you're calling the function from. So yes, I am going to do it from here. You can bring this to any browser you'd like. I unlock it, not now, next. So again, full access key. It'll be able to view things, create new accounts, transfer tokens, deploy smart contracts, all the good fun hacky stuff, and we're gonna connect. It's okay. Uh, Hawk Hacks 24. Oh no, sorry. Not paying enough attention, and we should be good to go. Now we can start deploying, creating sub accounts, and all that fun stuff directly um, from. And I'll do that one thing just 'cause I think it's pretty fun. Creating a sub account, pretty straightforward, pretty fun. Um, Accounts on, where are we? Accounts. uh, Sorry, I'm trying to find the simplest way of getting back there. It decided to close. testnet.mynearwallet. There you go. Okay. Yeah, I have to also change that. So you can go to account. You can remove. Where is it? Where's my random password? Delete that. That's just a huge pain, especially for a testnet account. That's like step number one. My password was literally just 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So there you go. No more password on that. You can test, use the UI as much as you'd like. Um, at the same time, you can see that all testnet accounts will start with 10 near. Uh, if you needed more near, I mean, who would go make more testnet accounts and send all the funds back to the main one? That would be blasphemous. But anyways, you can get as much near as you need by creating, or test near by creating more testnet accounts if you need to. For example, um, the transaction fee on near is quite low, but the storage fee, and we'll go through that again in a bit, is quite high. So, for example, on Mintbase, if you're creating an NFT smart contract, you might need 3 to 4 near just to create one smart contract. You can also delete that smart contract and get the storage back. But again, if you're hacking and testing quickly, that might not be the most reasonable. So, okay, here you go. Near, create account, and then you have the account you want to create, and then you use the account here. Relatively straightforward. I'm just going to copy and paste it to show how you might just put it into your terminal. So I'm going to use HawkHacks testnet. I'm going to create, right, um, my project dot HawkHacks. Oh, I think it was HawkHacks 24 actually. There you go. Hopefully this should work. Should be pretty straightforward. And now I should have a new account. The private keys for this account are showing me where they are here. So the keys so that I can actually call function on this account are here in near credentials, dash testnet, dash my project, and this is the account name that I have. So there's a JSON file here that has the information for my private key. So if I want to move that information or whatever else, it's all there. Also, if I do, near call, some method, method, on, this contract, right? Let's say I deployed a contract here, right? Let's say this is not the right format, but again, the formatting for calling is in the documentation. But now let's say I was doing this and I said I wanted to call it from, uh, you know, uh, account ID, it's probably incorrect. Account ID, let's say Chloe dot, let's keep it on testnet. So this would allow me to, for example, as long as I have the private key for Chloe.testnet, I can call this. But we already know, for example, we do have uh, Hawk Hacks 24.testnet. So we logged in with your login. So we do have the credentials for HawkHacks 24.testnet on our machine. And we just created this account, this sub account. So now we can create multiple accounts, as many as we need to interact with the blockchain, deploy smart contracts, and the like. So that's a bit about the dashboards that are currently available. Nearblocks allows you to, very quickly and easily interact with smart contracts. You just log in with your Near account. You type in the contract you want to interact with. So if it's on testnet, go ahead. And so we can already look up um, my project dot hawk hacks 24 dot testnet and my project dot hacks 24 doesn't like me. I think that's what I created. Now I have to open it up again. It honestly might have also not indexed it by then. Sometimes I spelled it wrong. Probably spelled it wrong. Um, but sometimes you'll notice that, again, if you're into indexing, that's an area you might want to. Oh, there you go. It's right here. So my project at HawkHacks 24.testnet, its balance is 1 near. because I didn't specify how much near to send to the new account, it automatically goes, okay, let's send one out of your 10 near to this account. You can see this batch transaction to create. This is testnet, but you can see the execution plan, and you can see that HawkHacks 24.testnet to this new account contract. Um, Created a new account, transferred some tokens, there's a new full access key created, and all the information can be pretty easily seen here on NearBlocks. The exact, so if I take um, this transaction hash and I go to Pikes Peak, and hopefully Pikes Peak makes it very simple for me to, oh my, does Pikes Peak even run on testnet? I hope so. Let's see. Sometimes it's not the easiest to find testnet deployments for projects. Ah, there you go. We'll stay away from testnet on Pikes Peak for now. But hey, HawkHacks, yes, love the hashtag. Um, so in my opinion, if you're trying to just quickly hack and engage with contracts, NearBlocks is probably the way to go. It's also open source, and you can kind of engage there. You can see like where the indexer API is, what's being used. One of the other very, I think I kind of glossed over this, but you can look at, I mean, all the latest blocks and latest transactions are all listed here, which is actually pretty cool. And you can kind of use their information, like their indexer API and stuff like that, to see what's going on. There's another random project here. I think this is still, there you go, it's still live. Nearsend.io, I think. There you go. Yes, okay. So you can use testnet for this as well, of course. Um, let's switch to testnet. You can connect your wallet and you can interact with, bulk send. One hackathon project idea could be adding a randomizer to the bulk send so that instead of just sending the same amount of tokens, you can maybe randomize them and have a fun little engaging event tool to like, randomize everyone is authorized to receive some drop, but maybe you want to randomize the amount. So anyways, that is all open source. You can kind of look into that, and that is going over some dashboards. Now, from here, I'm going to go a bit quicker over like, okay, you have an account, you know how to use near CLI a little bit, you know how to look up what you did. So maybe you use near CLI to deploy a contract, maybe you fork something on GitHub to deploy to WASM. But where do you actually find what you want to deploy? So maybe you want to interact with DAOs and governance, like with Near DAOs or Astra++, Metapool. Maybe you'd like to interact with decentralized exchanges. I kind of showed a bit about that, but I'll go a bit deeper into Ref Finance, for example. Maybe you would like to dig into NFT contracts, whether it's a marketplace for NFTs or whether it's just a minter for NFTs. So I think one of the interesting use cases for NFTs early on was like Uniswap minting liquidity pool ownership as NFTs. It's pretty interesting. It makes it really easy to see the liquidity you own and maybe transfer it to a different account on a similar standard. Near does have, and I'll go through this a bit later, or maybe not. If you have questions, you can ask. Near has a fungible token standard like a USDT, wrapped Near, ST Near. It also has a multi-fungible token standard. So you actually don't have to mint liquidity as NFTs on Near because there's already a standard to manage pool shares, and you can already transfer pool shares from one account to another. One thing I did learn recently, though, is that the way different decentralized exchanges manage the MFT standard uh, actually makes it a bit difficult at times. So a project could also be um, allowing people to transfer their pool shares from various decentralized exchanges. There's only about 2 or 3 active on Near right now, but allowing you to transfer those shares into an NFT. So again, every account on Near is just a smart contract. So you could have, instead of my project.hawkhacks.near, you could have, DeFi NFTs.hawkhacks.near, and you could have people go to your UI. They could have a view of all the pool shares they have, all the MFTs they have, and they could be able to maybe mint those pool shares into an NFT, which might make it easier to trade those shares on a marketplace like Mintbase, for example. We're going to go through some gaming, like Protocol Pawns. It's a fully on-chain game on Near, allowing PvP with chess, or you can face off against an AI. I think using GPT on Near. Marma J Gaming. I'll go, using Unity, assembly script, and a little bit of ZK, a little bit of, what's happening currently with ZK, more for privacy than scalability at the moment on Near, and where maybe as a hacker you can get involved with this as well. So let's start with Near DAOs. So on Near, we have a DAO ecosystem. Called, I guess, Sputnik is the contract. So the GitHub link is here. I guess I'll keep sharing stuff in the chat. I kind of keep forgetting that I can just drop it easily in the chat. But this is a pretty useful link. I think if people are watching live, you can right away dig into, you can start following the project as well, which is probably a good idea if you're hacking. But you can look at the Sputnik DAO smart contract. So this is the actual Rust-based contract that's managing all the logic for majority of the DAOs on Near. There's also a front end UI. So if you like the look of this front end, ooh, fancy, nice. That is where you would find this information. There's also an API gateway. There's like a middleware for this as well, which gives you, for example, some DAO stats and some information for DAO. So maybe you don't want to actually deploy a DAO smart contract for your hack, but you would just like to look up some information about the DAOs that are on Near, maybe create some dashboards. This could also be a way to do so. The code has not been updated in quite a while, so potentially that might not be as useful as going directly to the contract information. But usually the reason for the middleware is that the contract doesn't have view calls for everything potentially, and the middleware might be collecting some data with an indexer as time goes. So it's something to think about as you're looking to hack on DAOs on Near. Um, but that is where you can look. Uh, well, one of the cool things about the Astro or Astra Plus Plus UI, this UI I'm looking at here, is the entire UI is decentralized. It's open source. Yes, this is open source as well, but this is decentralized. So hopefully the difference there is understood a little bit. Whereas if you deploy a UI like this, it is still on a centralized server, right? Information for this UI could change. So let's say someone hacks into where I'm managing the server, and they're able to change some of the login information or transfer information. Maybe, every time I tried to submit a proposal and I put proposal transfer and I put an account in here like Chloe.near, maybe my handy dandy hack will make it show Chloe.near, but actually send it to when you actually go to approve. So, and I propose this. Maybe when I actually go approve, it's actually sending, okay, amount one. Maybe it's actually sending this to a different account, like a compromise or the hacker's account. So here's where you go. You try and send the transaction. Okay, well, this is completely old. This is an old UI. So I just kind of found the link so I could share it with you guys. Um, if you'd like to look into a project on Near that is using DAOs or is engaging in governance, but isn't necessarily a community DAO. Many larger projects like Ref Finance, Aurora, the EVM Shard, they're all using DAOs from the Near DAOs repo, Sputnik DAOs, to manage their contracts. So if you want to add new tokens or shut down Ref Finance, the main decentralized exchange on Near, you would actually be doing that on the DAO, which is pretty cool. The DAO can manage various contracts and almost act like it's a multi-sig, which is pretty cool. But there's also Metapool, which kind of engages governance in DAOs, but also looks to DeFi, community initiatives, validators. And so I think it's an interesting idea for, again, maybe for a hackathon. This might be a bit large of a project, but it is all open source. You can fork all of this and move it to testnet. And potentially there's an area if you're looking through a project like Metapool, maybe there's an area that you think could be improved. So I'll go through a quick example. Metapool has a DAO token, governance token called MP I guess I can share this link as well. Wow, look at that. Although all the links are in the description of this video, so anyone who's interested can just kind of If I'm talking for too long and you're busy hacking, you could just take the entire presentation, take all the links, look at them yourself, and keep hacking. I'm going to keep doing this for those that might watch it later or are very interested. So awesome. So this empty DAO token, you can lock it, right? It's a lockup contract. This lockup, you have a variable time limit on it, and you can go from 30 days to 300 days. Now, generally, for on-chain governance platforms, you have some sort of lockup so that you can't attack the system. You could imagine someone could borrow millions of dollars of MPDAO or borrow some other tokens, buy the MPDAO, lock them up for, let's say, a day, submit in a malicious proposal, vote to approve it, and then dump the tokens a day later. So to try and have some buy-in from the community, from the members of the community that have voting power, um, what happens is you can choose how long you want to lock it up, but the minimum is 30 days, right, for buy-in. Now, maybe you think that's too long. Maybe you want to make something shorter, or maybe you want to make a bot that automatically stakes for the shortest amount of time and restakes and claims fees, whatever else. These are all kind of small hacks you can create for usability, for engaging with the ecosystem. But one of the interesting parts of this MPDAO token is actually that it does not only exist on one blockchain. Now, many tokens like USDC, DAI, they exist on multiple blockchains, but generally that would be a stablecoin. So whether it exists on Ethereum or Aurora or Near or Solana or Avalanche, it's all going to be worth the same value, the same $1. One of the differences with MPDAO is that it exists on Ethereum and it exists on Near, but there's actually no bridge to be able to transfer back and forth those tokens. They don't want it. Also, yeah, for security reasons, Aurora Bridge isn't used. And so currently, if you have, let's say, I think I actually do have some MPDAO tokens on Ethereum. There you go. I have, let's say 2,000 MPDAO tokens on Ethereum. Let's say I wanted to lock my NP down now. I hit max and I wanted to approve. Currently, the fee, I think it's like about 50 cents for approval. Let's look it up here. I think get the exact number. Um, I don't have my ledger on me. So there you go, 46 cents to approve the transaction on Ethereum. And then it's going to have a different cost, right, to be able to actually transfer those tokens. That's how it works in the Ethereum world. Um, but that's 46 cents. That I think each meta token is worth 3 cents or less. So you're pretty much, spending what 13 for whatever 15 of your meta tokens just to be able to prove a transaction. So one of the main reasons I build on Near and I hack on Near, grow products on Near is because at least the cost of use is reasonable for more everyday people. If I want to hack on mainnet, I can kind of do so, send someone to mainnet, like one Near on mainnet, and they can already interact with my platform or my project. The issue here is that I actually have zero voting power available. There's no way to easily send those tokens. Um, and so, yeah, maybe you want to try and create a platform, maybe with chain signatures, where an account on Near can manage NPDAO on Ethereum, right? But still have the voting power on Near, right? So you can imagine yeah, anyways, I'm not going to go too much into all the details. If you're looking for the documentation, actually, it's a little bit hard to find on the site. So if you scroll down to uh, the docs down here, it'll pull up, what is Metapool, multi-chain liquid staking. I'm not going to go too much into like liquid staking, what it is. If people here are very interested, again, feel free to ask questions. But if you've ever heard of STETH, um, the liquid staking token for Ethereum that's run by Lido. I think $1.5 billion locked in that platform or staked in that platform so far. It's one of, I think, the largest liquid staking platform in the ecosystem. Um, I guess Metapool tries to do something similar on various chains, allows users to, again, on Near, it allows you to stake your Near tokens, right? So if I want to stake, you earn 8.86 APY, very fun. You can do a delayed unstake, which is you're unstaking directly from the validators, or you can do a fast unstake. So I think this gives an idea of kind of the profits that could be available. Again, very low for Near, but for example, on other chains where there is less competition. That's a good way of putting it, maybe. You can see how your AP, oops, let's go to Aurora. Your APY would be around 17%. And I think, it's 4 days to unstake. So again, if you deposit your Aurora, you're earning 17%. Delay unstake is 4 days, but it's free. And then fast unstake is a 2% fee. Um, and one of the interesting things here is that the liquidity is a so depositing liquidity here is a higher APY than the staking. So again, this is arguably a tiny bit of alpha, because if you want to stake this random token, you earn 17%, and to fast unstake is a 2% fee and a 4 day wait. So simple math, at least for me, would dictate that if I can earn 18% by depositing liquidity, someone else might have to withdraw quickly. I'd earn an extra 2%. Um, and then there's no, okay, liquid on stake. Yeah, same liquid on staking fee, so 2%. Um, but anyways, you want to create an automated management platform where people are able to automatically engage with these types of systems. Um, yeah, I don't want to go too much into detail, but for example, you also have accounts here that are earning ST near, let's say, every month, right? So even if you lock for 30 days, 300 days, you're earning these tokens every month. And so you could also imagine maybe having an application where you sign a transaction, providing a function access key. So an access key to your hackathon project that only allows the project to interact with a specific function on for my account. So you can imagine Chloe.near allowing this project to manage my restaking, right? To take my ST near, to do something with it, and maybe buy more MP DAO and redeposit. So if you're looking for the information, again, not going to go too much into detail here. Um, where are we? Ah, here it is. And now I lost it. There it is. Sorry. It was under resources. I don't know, I clicked it and looked somewhere else. Anyways, a bit hard to find the GitHub at times. It's not on the main site, but the GitHub is here with all the open source code. So if you're like, you know what, this is pretty cool, I would love to go on testnet, try and create a similar liquid staking platform, maybe create your own, stablecoin, derivatives and whatever else, launching your own DEX. You can just kind of fork the contract here. And again, you fork this contract, you build it into WASM, you use near CLI to deploy it, and you're pretty much good to go. So it is relatively straightforward. If you want to interact with Ethereum, maybe you want to create something on Aurora instead, and because you can communicate pretty easily between Near and Aurora, and maybe you wanted to, create some interaction there, might be pretty cool. Um, there's also vote tracking and vote contracts. So maybe you actually don't want to use Metapool for anything really, but you do think it's pretty cool to have a project where maybe every time someone buys an NFT, they get some fungible tokens. Maybe they can deposit them somewhere and lock them and earn some rewards. There's also a snapshot. Where are we? Uh, Somewhere here. Sorry, in the repos. Uh, There you go. So yeah, vote tracking. So vote tracking is pretty cool as well. Allows you to kind of imagine a project where you have various people in your community staking their tokens, and you're going to distribute some fees to them. Maybe you have a trading bot running, and you're showing how people would be able to purchase shares in your trading bot, and based on how much they're depositing, maybe there's multipliers or whatever else to gamify it. But you can have some redistribution of protocol fees. So going to be closing most of these. If though people here care about governance, DAOs, this is where you can find most of the information. Metapool is one of the main governance projects on Near. You can vote on validators to support, which is a whole interesting ball game on its own. Um, so please feel free to look into that. Even if it's a dashboard based on historical views here, that might be a fun hackathon project as well. So moving on, again, rough finance for DeFi. Ref Finance, very high level. I've kind of spoken about it a few times in this kind of workshop. I call it a workshop because all these links, I expect people to already start using them, already start interacting with them as I'm talking. But anyways, low fees, less than a cent US dollar, USD, pretty much for interacting. Lightning fast. Near has a block time of around 1 second. You can actually see the specific block time currently on a project like Near Blocks or Pikes Peak. And there you go, $6.7 billion of accumulated trading volume over the past few years. There's decentralized liquidity. Sorry, there's, yeah, okay, Deskratized. It just means you're able to set your liquidity in certain parameters instead of having it be over the entire range of prices for a token, but I always say it incorrectly. As you dig in, you can launch the app, generally where to get started. So you can, pretty straightforward. You take one token, you can swap it for another. There's also limit orders. So for example, maybe you're creating a project and you have a token, and honestly, you just want to have a limit order kind of system created for your token. Well, you could fork Ref Finance, you can whitelist your token, and on these kind of instruments, on these lists of tokens, you could add your, testing token that you created. It could be a fun hackathon project as well, just showing how you'd create liquidity for that token, maybe based on NFTs or governance or whatever else. But this is the way to do it. They also have stable pools, right? So if you go to I guess we'll go to liquidity pools under earn. Um, you can see the different types of pools they have. So you have desperatized liquidity pools, um, classic pools, and you also have stable pools. So stable pools just have a different algorithm. Um, just to understanding that there's not much volatility. So you even have stable pools for tokens that are not stable. So for example, we talked about ST Near with Metapool and Near. So and LI Near is another liquid staking token in the Near ecosystem. So generally Frax and USDT, they're both stable coins. They are stable. USDT, USDC, USDTE. So E means it came from Ethereum over the Rainbow Bridge, and USDCE. Those are all stable. Even here, you have USDTE, USDCE, and DAI, all stable, or hopefully. But for example, with the ST near and LI near, every 12 hours, the value of ST near and LI near will change in relation to near tokens. This is because the epoch time for near validators is 12 hours. And so that's when rewards are generally distributed around 12 hours. Again, this is all shown on near blocks. I actually think they have a great way of showcasing it. They have a little like bar. So yeah, here's the average block time. Where's my nice little bar? I don't see it currently. I'm not going to go looking for it. I could just see my computer's going slow right now, but it'll show you. Um, Maybe the bar is elsewhere. Anyways, usually there's a bar somewhere, might be on Pikes Peak or something, showing how far along the epoch we are. But yeah, I can't remember where that is currently. But anyways, that is how refinance works. In my opinion, more interesting than that is probably going under the more section, going to the doc section. And here from the docs, you can read, this is kind of more high level, introducing, where it started, token economics, governance, fine. But where you're actually going to find most of the information is under the contracts. And I mean, personally, it's probably best to go straight to GitHub. So these are all the contracts specifically. Might want to read through this first just to see what's available. There's also been security audits. So if you're interested in like audits generally, I think a great place to look for near-based audits would be here. There's the different audits that have been um, showcased. I mean, I don't know how deep this hackathon's going, but I think it could actually be pretty cool to look at which contracts have been audited and which contracts haven't. And then maybe for your hackathon project, you submit an audit for one of the contracts that has not been audited. So, for example, one that I think has not been audited is like the Guardian contracts, um, stuff like that. Um, okay, so Ref Finance is currently being audited as well. So maybe reaching out to the team, seeing what they're auditing. But usually with these audits, you can see a pretty extensive view of what the audit looks like. And it gives a pretty good outline. Like maybe you're a student and you've never done a full-blown audit before. But again, I mean, with AI tools that we have and examples that are already here, you can probably understand the outline of what an audit might look like. So, where's your commit of the contracts? All this kind of stuff would stay the same. The date, stuff like that. What are some issues you found? What are their vulnerabilities? What are some maybe just not really issues, but like, okay, this is a small, you didn't standardize everything correctly, or maybe even comments are incorrect, right? So I've always thought that it's pretty cool to find unique ways to interact with a hackathon. Maybe, and so maybe, completing an audit for one contract, maybe not for four or five of them, like you see um, in these audits, right? They're auditing, 4 or 5 contracts and probably over a few months. This one's only doing 2 contracts. So maybe just looking at one of these contracts. So now it's like a boost farm now. So again, this is for VE ref that was never used. This is for ref farming, right? But there's also boost farms, right? This is a new farming contract that ref is using. I personally don't see any audits for it yet. It's probably currently being audited. But so maybe you want to just look at this one contract on GitHub, and you want to look into all the fun stuff. 4 months ago updates, fun. MFTs. Sorry. So maybe that could be an update. The way that MFTs are implemented in this boot farm contract isn't standardized or whatever else. Um, right? And we can look into like the actions of farmers, the seed, the reward, the seeds. Maybe there's an issue with big decimal. I mean, I don't know. This is something where, again, if you look through these contracts, some of this is 2 years ago, so maybe not as big of a deal, but maybe some of this has been updated more recently and hasn't had as much time to be looked over. So that could be a way where people want to engage as well. Either way, all the information is here in the docs. That's kind of where you might want to get started. And then from the docs, so again, more docs. Then from the docs, you are able to find the contracts. You go to contracts first, and then from contracts, you go to GitHub. So again, not every project makes it really easy to find their GitHub, but actually I'll drop this link because I feel as though that's a useful one and might take more than 30 seconds to find for some people. Okay, the dexes are pretty straightforward. I don't want to go too much into dexes, but now we're going into NFTs. Again, another standard that exists in the Web3 ecosystem that could be helpful to engage with at a hackathon. Normally, at a hackathon, you don't have an exorbitant amount of time. Oh, okay, back online. Seems like I was offline for a second there. So usually at a hackathon, you don't have an exorbitant amount of time to be, let me just close some of these browsers. Sorry, just like losing track of my thoughts. To be able to build something from scratch. So using standards like fungible token standards, multi-fungible token standards, NFT standards can all be helpful to just get something up and running a lot quicker. So I'm logged in right now with one of my accounts just so you can see what it looks like, right? I have this contract here, I have this contract here. I'm an owner on both of them. When you're in a contract, you can also add minters. So maybe you have um, a contract you deploy on myproject.hawkhacks.near, but you might want to add some other minters to your account. Maybe you have other smart contracts that you want to be able to mint on your main contract. So you can imagine a game, an NFT based, or sorry, a blockchain based game where you have a main smart contract that manages all of your minting logic, but you might have other contracts that allow people to mint. So maybe you have an onboarding contract where when a new user logs in, they're able to create an avatar and that creates an NFT just for their profile picture and their avatar. You can imagine having then the users able to interact with gaming item contracts that maybe are able to mint new items as well. And it allows you to use one contract for a bunch of things and have organization there. So all of this, of course, is available um, through the GitHub. So when you go to developers on mintbase.xyz, there's a lot of really cool stuff, templates, indexers, affiliate stuff, grants program. All of it is on GitHub. So Mintbase is pretty very, very, very dev friendly and very dev first, which is awesome. So if you are a developer, which I think everyone watching this should be, computer science students, you'll probably enjoy what Mintbase has to offer. I think one of the coolest areas is still going to the templates though. So I'll open that up quickly. And this shows you all of the templates that are currently available. My favorite template is, and I think the easiest one to get up and running with quickly is Minsta. So you can look at a demo. Now this will not fully work on my laptop, sorry, um, because you cannot log in to Mint-based wallets with Linux devices. Um, so for example, let's say I wanted to create this account. It just doesn't work. Yeah, it won't work. So some people here, if you were at the beginning of this and you're trying to claim these on a device that doesn't work, I'm sorry, you just can't claim them for now. So that's kind of a potential issue. But anyways, for anyone that has claimed, so I'm actually going to drop this link from minsta.mintbase.xyz because everyone here is already able to test this out right now. So if you did claim any of the NFTs that I shared earlier, you can come here, log in, right? The first step will be to log in with your Mint-based wallet, click this big red button, right? And the instructions are very simple. Take a picture, upload it as an NFT, and you can climb the leaderboard. So there's a basic leaderboard here as well. I think this is a very, very, very straightforward hackathon project. Um, wow, RP with 50. Great job, RP. You have Nate, the CEO of Mintbase, or one of the co-founders. Um, and a lot of various people across the ecosystem. So again, if you are here at this hackathon for the rest of the weekend, hacking tonight, hacking late into wee hours of the morning, feel free to share your experience on Minsta. It's all free, right? Using meta transactions. Now, some of the things that might be useful for a hackathon product might be content moderation, right? If someone goes on your platform and posts something like the portal that was in New York to Dublin the other day, if someone pulls one of those on there, are you able to remove those things quickly? Maybe you want to have social interactions, like people able to upvote and downvote. So maybe instead of a leaderboard being the most mints, which can be easily botted, maybe you want to have, I mean, votes can be botted too, but you can imagine votes being either purchasing the NFT or using some fungible tokens to upvote. So maybe everyone that engages in your ecosystem, once they're whitelisted, gets 20 fungible tokens. Each fungible token is able to be used to upvote posts on this Minsta platform. People with the most upvotes at the end of the weekend will get a reward, based on 10 near tokens. And that could be something that you honestly build in a few hours, right? That's a few hours build. It's pretty cool. It's engaging. You can share the link pretty quickly. Everyone that's hacking, I think there's 850 hackers I heard. So all 850 people can be using this application from tonight into the wee hours of the morning. And you'd probably have a pretty extensive Minsta page by the end of tomorrow, or maybe even by the end of tonight. All the parties tonight I've been hearing about. This, Waterloo something 5, 6 p.m. I don't know. Sadly, I'm not there in person. I will hopefully be there tomorrow for some judging. But again, you can see a lot of people sharing their pomegranates, sharing their bedrooms or whatever else, sharing their wallets, their jewelry. You can share anything, and it's all free. So I guess again, I think content moderation is a very interesting. There's Nate, a co-founder again. I think I have some pictures up here somewhere. There's Luis, the developer behind Minsta. Love Luis, like all-star developer. Like yeah, amazing. I think he's the CTO now of Mintbase, so that's awesome. People sharing themselves cuddling, some makeup. I think it's Carolina maybe. Um, Showing their houses, their kids, right? So you can see how the community honestly is using this and just sharing all different things. And so you can imagine that you launch an application, you launch an NFT for fun to give out some wallets, and you might start seeing some pretty crazy things on the Minster pretty quickly. So here, near was at $2.80. Wow. Someone should have shared that a long time ago. Joking. Anyways, but that's Minsta, that's Mintbase. There's a bunch of other templates that are interesting. You can look at the contracts, the factory, the NFT stores. You can fork the marketplace. You can look at the audits here. Um, you can just create a platform about what's already exists, right? So Mintbase runs an indexer. You can query that indexer and showcase your own things. Maybe when it comes to, let me just reopen it. When it comes to Mintbase, you want to just query information and query data. Um, or you think the UI isn't the best. So, for example, here is an image that I posted for Adam and Eve, some puppies I was fostering out in Antigua a while ago, trying to support the Marma J puppy garden. And not only can you buy this in Near tokens, you can also buy it with credit card. So maybe for your hackathon project, you want to launch on mainnet, you want to launch some, some NFTs for the party tonight, or some gated party you have tickets to, trying to sell NFTs for it. You can deploy a real live example of a ticketing app or whatever else in a weekend by, forking some information, a contract from here, or just deploying. But you can make some tweaks to the UI, for example. So maybe the UI that you see here isn't the most conductive for your project, right? This has all this information, maybe a bit confusing for some people. So maybe you just want the image, a checkout, and a simple checkout with a credit card information, right? Maybe add to cart might be useful because that's one thing people have actually been asking for. It does exist. On Paras. Paras is another NFT platform. It is also open. I don't want to say that out loud with a strong voice. I'm 90% sure they're open source. So here you go, GitHub. I'll drop that link as well because this is not in my notes. I'll add it to my notes later. So here you go. Everything here should be here in open source, so please feel free to look into it. But on Paras, and I will try and quickly log in so it allows us to look at some of this stuff. I'll log in with HawkHacks. So on Parash, you're able to actually add NFTs to a cart and then check out from that cart. So maybe you want to use Mintbase and you want to use a credit card feature to allow you to check out a bunch of NFTs at a time. One way that I think this checkout feature could be more efficient is actually allowing you to um, so what you cannot use the checkout for is buying near tokens. You cannot use it for trading, sexually explicit material, a lot of things. It uses Stripe. So a lot of things you cannot use it for, but you can use it for real goods. You can use it for NFTs and art and stuff like that for nonprofits and stuff like that. So what you could do is allow people to Am I logged in? Perfect. Let's look at some NFTs now. Let's go to this random, it's the first place one. Let's look at it. I can add. Okay, awesome. Add. So this purchasing experience is quite straightforward, right? The UX for a new user is pretty straightforward. I knew exactly what to do right away. I saw NFTs. I clicked add. This is probably a lot more conductive to getting volume, right? Than what I see here, where I see one NFT. Maybe I would have liked a bunch more. So if I go back to the contract, I think there's a few NFTs in the contract. All these NFTs. So maybe someone's like, you know what? I want to donate and sweep the entire contract. So this, for example, is a game. Pictures from the game were minted to raise funds, point 0.1 near each for voting, and the funds go to raise funds or just to support social good. So maybe someone's like, you know what? I want to sweep the entire catalog. I just want to click one, two, three, four, and buy them all. Right now, it would take dozens, if not like 100+ clicks to do this. You have to click each NFT, right? Let's say I only had a credit card. This one's not listed for sale with a credit card. It might be difficult. I'd have to click the NFT. I'd have to go to the wallet. As you can see, I mean, most people would stop after the first one. They'd get here and they'd stop. Whereas this, if I had all these NFTs listed here, a lot more helpful. So maybe your hackathon project is simply taking this type of UI and allowing Mint-based smart contracts to port right in, right? So maybe someone could log in with their Near account. Instead of having to launch a collection, whatever, they could just type out, or it could show them all their contracts. So you could type out your contract and start looking at it in this type of setting, right? And that could be useful for any smart contract on Near that's using NFTs. So an example of what might be useful, an example of what's available, and where you can get started. I think the whole idea, though, of being able to just quickly set up the ability to sell NFTs for a credit card like fiat is pretty cool. And it's a pretty cool hackathon project when you can deploy something that is live on mainnet and uses credit cards and is fully functioning. So if any projects get there by tomorrow, that'd be super cool. So if you have any questions about how to interact, I've done this a few times for some of my nonprofits. Feel free to ask. Um, okay, let's keep going. I know I'm going like way over time, but that's the point. I wonder how long I've taken so far. Um, an hour and 50, that's not bad. An hour 15. We can keep going. So that's Mint-based docs, that's Minsta. I would suggest if you were into just an interactive hack, look at Minsta. I have a team that's actually deploying a Minsta for an event we're having next week, and it's very easy. You just give out the QR code or have a QR code at the door. People scan it, get a free account, and they can interact for free, take pictures, and earn throughout the event NFTs, tokens, and swag just from interacting with the platform. Next, we're going to move on to gaming a little bit. So Protocol Pawns, Marma J Gaming. Then we're going to end off quickly with a little bit of ZK. I don't want to go too much into ZK. Some people might find it totally boring or it's like not very interesting. To me, it's like the next thing since sliced bread, at least for the fact that it's here, it's relevant, developers can use it right now. It's not like a theoretical technology that you have to like rack your brain around. You can generally interact with zero knowledge for privacy at least pretty easily on Near. And then there's already an application that allows you to do this, and you can fork the code, deploy. It's all open source. For Protocol Pawns, though, this is a game that is deployed on the blockchain operating system. I generally use near.social, not near.org, but I will drop the link. Sorry, I have to hold on my studio again. I will drop the link here for that. So this is Protocol Pawns. It allows you to register your account. So let's see, confirm, right? So you can interact here. Oops, if I did that correctly. Um, sure. So once you register your account, again, this is a storage fee. So Near does have pretty high storage fees. I know I was complaining about the Ethereum fee earlier for an approval, but generally approvals cost less than transfers, whereas storage fees are a one-time fee that is refundable. You can get that storage fee back if I remove my account from this platform. Anyway, if I want to remove an approval, I have to pay again. But anyway, I have no games found. You can find you can search in your blocks for old games, but what you can do is like a PvP challenge. So there's no open challenges found, but you could, ooh, okay, so these are people that I could challenge, right? So if someone here wants to fight PvP, we can already, these people have all submitted the storage I just showed, so registering the account. So if anyone who's hacking registers their account, you can also see your account here and people can challenge you. So if someone challenges me, if someone challenges socialgood.near, they'll be able to see it here. So I'm probably not going to do a full challenge, but I do know most of these people and let's challenge the dev. Challenge. So this again, all the information, we're on the blockchain operating system now. This is kind of built in for you. So if you build on Near, you don't have, sorry, if you build on Boss, on the blockchain operating system, you don't have to manage all of this yourself. When you create like a button that does a Near call, you kind of code the backend for that, and it'll automatically show the user this information. This is pretty cool. I love this. So next time I try and submit a similar transaction by chessgame.near/widget/chessgame tab pot challenge. So only for this specific function, right? It's not going to ask me again, and it's going to automatically sign the transaction. That works because I have some storage I've deposited into social.near, 0 to 1 on near. Heck yeah. Um, and so you can actually see this as I refresh. So here you go. This is an open PvP challenge. Now, if I want to, who else should I, who else should I challenge? Um, let's challenge. There you go. Another challenge. Now, this time in the bottom right hand corner, you can see it's actually calling the contract without redirecting to the wallet. So if you're creating a game, The boss, in my opinion, is actually using iframes. Um, and the boss is a pretty good way potentially of doing this because instead of having to redirect, I think there was a funny meme a couple days ago on Twitter, X whatever, about pretty much blockchain gaming. Every time you have a transaction, MetaMask pops up, and either you approve all these transactions and you're kind of screwed, or you have to approve every time. Yes, there's new EIPs creating more, which should fix that. But Near has this pretty much built in where you have I have my storage, 30 kilobytes. I think it's zero point 0.3 Near. Um, and because of this storage, it uses this storage, kind of like a gas, the gas allowances I was talking about earlier. It's like a gas allowance that works for better UX. So I have these two open challenges. If you don't have any friends, which is fine, you could. This is pretty cool. Higher difficulties consume more gas. So pretty much you can play chess on chain against not just a computer but against AI. If you do an easy game, right, it'll cost you, they might all say 30 T gas. Yeah, they all say 30, but they'll have different amounts once you actually do it. So let's see if we can just creep and not click it for ourselves. But again, you can hit don't ask me again. But again, I called a different function on this widget, right? And it asked me again. So you can actually modularize how the UX flow is to say that, you know, you're kind of generating your own UX flow. If you're saying, you know what, no, I do want an authorization every time I do this action, then you can actually untick that and keep it going. But I am going to just quickly uh, go to near blocks and I want to creep on this contract because I want to see if, oh, so people were playing 5 days ago was the most recent game. Awesome. And some people registered 2 days ago, and that was me 4 minutes ago. So not the most players on the game, but it is a fully on-chain game. So the contract's on-chain. The front end, as we saw, is an on-chain front end. I mean, you could view the source code of this game right here. Oh gosh. So all the source code is here. If you want to create a similar game, you can just, copy this. Obviously, you have to change some of the information, like the contracts, right? The contract ID is app.chess-game.near. If you forked this and maybe you wanted to use GPT 4.0 API to create an extreme version, right? You can probably just take protocol pawns. Um, they have some next steps. This is pretty cool one. Having the boss open up in Telegram. This already exists on Near. You can make it. So maybe you want to just do this over the weekend. Just, deploy the game in Telegram. Maybe you want to just, deploy a money match, right? PvP, where you can actually stake some tokens. Relatively straightforward, right? You're pretty much taking the game. Um, you're having an outcome. It already says if you won or lost, it will no longer be displayed. You can check the most recent transactions on Nearblocks. So maybe you want to run an indexer and just start showing. Like, honestly, you could just fork this code, use Pikes Peak or another indexer, and just edit this code to show the previous games, right? That could be an edit, supportive addition to this project, and it wouldn't take much additional effort to just kind of add to someone else's project. Maybe you want to do chess, right, instead of checkers. Sorry, checkers instead of chess, and you want to create a similar project. Again, you can view the source. You can fork it pretty quickly. If I fork this and I hit preview, you can see it's right here. So in the return section, uh, you can, change things, and you can feel like, do not play chess, right? And then you could preview it, and now if it likes me, yeah, do not play chess. So you're pretty much just able to edit this, as much as you want. If you fork this contract, so let's go down to the GitHub, and let's say you take this, I think that's the engine for chess, but this is the actual smart contract. So let's say again, you forked this contract, right? Again, to build it, very straightforward. You built it, you deploy it, near deploy, right? You would change this contract account. So you would do again, if we're doing HawkHacks.near, you would do app or hack.hackhawks, HawkHacks. Oh my gosh, tongue twisters. Anyways, you understand, hopefully, that you would change the contract address here where you want to deploy, and you would have your own folder where this is, right? Um, Near call, migrate, account ID, app. Apparently, you have to migrate. I actually haven't done this before myself. So the developer is saying you do have, there's a migrate function, maybe to initialize the contract. But again, if you want to, ooh, so you can only get a ranking if you're I am human verified. See, very fun stuff. But for example, I am human isn't the most current human verification on Near. You actually have nada.bot. So for example, you could, for a hackathon project, take the protocol prawns project um, and maybe allow people to have rankings um, with a different way. So not only I am human, but also saying, you know what, if you prove your humanity with not a bot, that also counts for having a ranking. Because these days, um, I am human gives you 19 points, but there's a lot of other ways to use ZK, um, to use your X profile, Lens, Farcaster, near social, be on the, be on near for more than 6 months. Many ways to try and use a wow, a score that comes together and tries to prove that you're human. Instead of just I am human, uses a face scan. So this is I am human. It's kind of like a world coin, but not as, yeah, not as interesting, I guess, potentially. But anyways, they scan your face, create a hash, use that unique hash, unique in air quotes, to try and verify your humanity. So just if people are curious about what exists on Near and identity, that is kind of what's available right now. So yeah, that is Protocol Pawns. Then we have Marma J Gaming. Um, I will share the Marma J GitHub repo. All the game code is here. So you have Pixel Dapps contracts. These are contracts for the three games I'm going to show quickly. You have the Chain Team Tactics code, Pixel Pets code, and Crypto Heroes code. That is all Unity code. So these games run on Unity. This is one of the games. And so Marma J Gaming, uh, always looking for more contributors. So the contract for this is a bit different. I'm not going to go through that. So Pixel Pets, you take a few pets like Pokemon, you battle them out, and you see if you win. Crypto Heroes, you have some heroes, you unlock them, you put gear on them, and you go into dungeons and compete in raids. And Chain Team Tactics allows you to own different units and do like a chess style back and forth game where it's an auto battler. So they're all pretty interesting. The one I'm going to show today, though, is Crypto Heroes. I already have it open. There is a log out bug. Fun times. And there's no mint-based wallet attached. So those that want to engage are going to have to be a bit hacky or a bit hackers themselves. You will probably have to take the private key from your mint-based wallet that you got this weekend. You are probably going to have to go to me, sorry, not metapool.app, Meteor, to wallet.meteorwallet.app. You can go to just meteorwallet.app as well. Let's take out the wallet section because wallet's not going to work. So Meteor Wallet, that app, will open up a different wallet that you can use for these games. And I actually don't know why. Maybe we'll take out the connect. There you go. So here you open the wallet. Okay, so it is wallet. I just had extra for the back. So here you go. I have my HawkHacks 24. I can also add a different wallet. I don't like that they call it wallets. You're not adding a wallet, you're adding an account into your wallet. The wallet is this application, right? Wallet, Meteor Wallet. The what you're adding is an account to this wallet or a smart contract to this wallet. But anyways, let's click add wallet. We could pick a new one, but obviously, if you're importing an existing wallet, like the one that you got this weekend with Mintbase, you can click that, secret phrase, private key, ledger. Most of you probably will not be using ledgers, at least not for the hackathon project you got, but you can use your secret phrase. Your private key might be available if you use near login and you did all that, but you'll probably have to learn how to use a few different wallets this weekend. So you got the Mint-based wallet when you started. You're probably gonna have to use Mine Wallet if you're using the Near CLI, and Meteor Wallet is a pretty quick and easy app to use as well. So secret phrase, you put in those 12 words we had. I don't even know my secret phrase that I had for this account. It's on my machine now somewhere, or I know where, but I'm not going to log in currently. But when you log in with Meteor Wallet, you will be able to then log into the games. When you log into the games, again, we have a log out bug. So if you're a developer who wants to continue contributing after the hackathon, or maybe even for the hackathon, you can try and fix some of these bugs. Probably not for the hackathon. Message us after. We have bounties available for developers to start working on some of these flows. But anyways, if you drop your Near account, you can drop it now in this chat as I'm streaming if you'd like. If you're here and you have a Near account, I know Nedlar, you have one, but if anyone else is here watching and you have a Near account, please feel free to drop it. I will drop you a wonderful loot box, which you can then click and open and get some gear for your characters, or you can sell them, whatever you'd like. But anyways, some interesting information about this game, Crypto Hero. So first of all, the contracts are in assembly script, not in Rust. So on Near, you can actually write contracts in a few different languages: assembly script, JavaScript, Rust. I'm sure more languages in the future. Honestly, as long as you can build it down to WASM, and you have a way of deploying that as well, you can use it. Most contracts these days that are high value use Rust, so Mintbase, Rough Finance, Metapool. There you go, Nedlar 7.near, awesome. So most high value contracts use Rust. There's a let's see if I can find it easily. JS in Rust. So there mm, Nope. JS in Rust. That's what it's called. I have the link somewhere. There's an actual project. I'm actually going to find it for y'all because it's actually pretty cool. Some people here are only JavaScript developers, and the fact that, there you go, copy link. So this is quick JS Rust Near allows you to, so it's a Rust WebAssembly smart contract for Near with a JavaScript runtime. You basically use JavaScript to interact with Rust. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. If you find that interesting, if you're like, oh hey, I love uh, Near and I want to build some smart contracts, but I'm not fully into Rust yet. That sounds like a lot of work. Maybe something to be able to try. This is an example of it running live. So this is an example of one of the developers who has actually run this and built this. And so it's an example of being able to write contracts in a different way. But Marma J Gaming is written in assembly script for this reason. And also these game items were created before the NFT standard existed on Near. And so these items are actually not fully NFTs according to the standard. So what that means is if I go to a wallet and I try and look up my NFTs, which might be this button. Yeah, collectibles. I might have one. None. Oh, sad times. Anyways, um, my NFTs either way will not show up. So if I'm logged in and I claim some items, they would not show up as NFTs on a wallet. So if you're wondering, okay, why do NFTs matter? That is why they matter. Every game can have their own game items, but the only way to actually have a standard where any wallet is able to show them is to try and use something like a standard like NFTs. Anyways, let's just go for it. 152, 161. Ooh, those are some nice boots. We usually need a weapon to be able to beat anything. So let's just go for a weapon for my ranger. Awesome. And let's get some armor. 465, 481. Sure, keep it straightforward. The pre-sale loot boxes, I actually sent myself quite a few of them so I can showcase what the game looks like a little bit. I sent 4. So each loot box lets you open 2 items. If you send me your Near account, I will send you at least 1 loot box. And Nedlar is the only one, so you're gonna get a nice loot box in a second, Nedlar. Love it. Um, Everyone from HawkHacks who sends a Near link, the organizers, HawkHacks, the organizers are going to send me a list of Near accounts, and I will go send them to everyone. So no worries at all. I'll make sure everyone gets a game item. I'm just gonna try and quickly pick items that might be useful. Awesome. Let's go with this one. Oh, of course, Nedlar. Thanks for being here and participating. I hope you're learning something new as well. Maybe we'll see you hacking soon. I'm actually going to start picking random stuff. This is going to take just too long. Oh, that was a good one. Uh, Knight. Which one's this? Mage. Let's go with Knight. So normally I'd look through each one, try and check the stat rank and all that fun stuff. I'll show quickly what the stat rank means and how you might, find information from this and start, hacking on some of the information. Let's do this one. Sure. Okay, so now I have some items to be able to, that should be the last one. I don't think there should be any more. That'd be crazy. There you go. So now I can go to my inventory. I can start equipping some of these items to my character. Awesome. Um, right? So after you've unlocked, then I can go to I can go to the marketplace, look at what else is there. So if you sort by stat rank, you'll see that most high-level items only cost 100 pixel tokens. And if you go to Ref Finance, you check out, how much is 100 pixel, PXT worth. Let's go to swap. Let's go to PXT. You'll see that it's not worth very much, right? So 100, that's not correct, obviously. So 100 PXT is about 25 cents, right? So obviously you're not going to be earning $1 million from engaging here, but it does show you how you might be able to create a game, launch a fungible token, launch NFTs, sell those NFTs to people. Maybe they can use those NFTs to attach them to a certain character, right? So if you have like a data structure for like your knight, and the knight's allowed to have a helmet, for example, you could just put an NFT, for that, item, and then it can actually pull data from the NFT instead of having to, hard code that or have like listed on a server somewhere. And you can use NFTs to, have your game be more interactive. If I take off some of these wonderful items, I can go to the Forge. I'm showing most of this so you can see what type of code exists, and maybe you want to use some of this code in your own hacks, but you don't want to use all of the rest of the game. You can just take some of these aspects, fork them. It's an assembly script, so it's similar to JavaScript, and so you don't have to really be digging into Rust to be able to do it. So there's some, randomization here, some random numbers being generated. You have some percent chances. You have some costs being taken. So again, if you want to have just a raffle, maybe your hackathon product is a raffle where you buy an NFT, you get some fungible tokens. When you buy the NFT, you're able to create, have some little simple raffle, and you have some chances of different things. But anyways, let's forge. Are you sure? Yes. Very interesting. I don't think we get a redirect on that. One of the like um, Normally, whenever you send near tokens or anything that adheres to the fungible token standard, you do have a wallet redirect for security reasons. So if I'm going to be transferring pixel tokens to someone else, there's usually a redirect to the wallet just to make sure things are being. So basically, with the fungible token transfer, you normally have like a one Yocto, so the smallest amount of near will also be transferred as well. This is the same for NFTs. If you transfer an NFT, usually you'll see a wallet redirect. You're wondering, okay, why is that happening? That's for a security reason. You don't want someone transferring high value assets without, approval, secure approval. But because pixel token.near manages the game logic and the fungible token, there's actually no transfer happening. It's all happening within the same smart contract, which is pretty interesting. Okay, we can just keep paying some funds to the contract and keep seeing if we can get a legendary. Pretty difficult. I've never actually gotten a legendary. I've played this game for years. Never gotten a legendary from forging or from dungeons. But anyways, that is the game. You can go into a dungeon. You can go to easy, for example. You have some dungeon keys. Um, Not sure you mean by becoming a legendary. I'm assuming you mean getting legendary items. And forging is the main way to get them. Two epics, 1% chance. And you can try your luck at getting a legendary. There's also legendary loot boxes, but they're not on sale at the moment. Wow, my mage beat the dungeon. After the dungeon, you beat it, you get a loot box opens, you get a reward. So maybe again, you want to create some very, very simple game logic for your hackathon where users are able to go throughout some sort of quick game. At the end of the game, they're able to kind of have this kind of randomized loot chest or loot box that gives them a chance at some items. Maybe there could be a bunch of NFTs in a smart contract. After you beat this kind of phase of play, you send a transaction to transfer one of those items to the user. You could also imagine, like we talked about before, uh, that action of beating the dungeon could um, action of the dungeon being completed could mint an NFT onto the contract. And actually, items can be created in your game as dungeons are being beaten. Main issue with that is it'd be a bit slower, potentially, a bit more costly, but again, different ways to handle the same issues. Question: can the game be completed? Um, Depends what you mean by completion. I think the max level is 100 at the moment. Um, and when you go to group raids, the ungodly raid is still actually closed. It's too difficult for anyone to beat. Uh, the Hell Dungeon as well. I don't think anyone's completed the Hell Dungeon, level 70 in Legendary gear. But yeah, I would assume if someone got through Hell and all that stuff, they beat the game. But this isn't a call about the game. It's more about hacking on these projects. Just trying to explain what's available and what you might find in the code. So thanks for the questions, but not trying to dig too much into the games at the moment. Marma Gaming has weekly community calls every Monday. So if anyone has questions about the game, please feel free to ask there. If you have questions about the game code, how to contribute, where to find information about the games, like it uses DigitalOcean, uses MongoDB at the moment. What's on chain, what's off chain? I can answer those questions. So for example, for protocol pawns, for example, all the game logic is on chain. And then for Marma Gaming, the actual game logic is off chain. So all that's on chain is all these game items and the stats. But then when you actually click, okay, I want to go into a dungeon, uh, you spend your dungeon key. There's some off-chain computations on a server. So right now, the outcome of the match has already been decided. We're just watching the gameplay for it. And then the outcome is recorded on the blockchain as well. So if I go to uh, near blocks, start closing some of these other ones, and I go to pixel pets, oops, pixel token.near, you'll see my recent interactions once it loads, and you will be able to see that the game logic that's happening. So quickly again, all this information can be found here on the GitHub. The Unity code's here. If you're looking for the contracts, you go to Pixel Pets, so Pixel Dapps dash backend. Um, you can find a lot of information here. Some information about how to kind of deploy it yourself if you'd like, deploy these contracts. Um, where are we? There's been updates and oh, sorry, my bad. Haha. This is the back end that manages uh, the game deployments. My bad. I was looking for the contracts. Feel like most people that are hacking this weekend probably aren't going to care too much about the backend for the games. Maybe you do. Don't want to put words in people's mouths. I think the Unity code might be interesting for some, maybe not. But the contracts is where I think people might. So again, build, deploy. I actually wrote this just to be fun. Oh, this is Pixel Party. Sorry, we're looking for Pixel dApps contract. Okay, so here we see the assembly contracts. That's why I was getting a bit confused. You can see there's pre-sale contracts. It's in TS, so assembly script. Um, you can see, get the egg supply, set egg supply for one of the games for Pixel Pets. Um, Crypto Heroes, for example, the game we just showed, this is the dungeon, code, the forge code, the game code, marketplace code, raids. So for the dungeon we just went into, um, right, you can check if it's testnet. Every time you go into the dungeon, you have to reduce the fight points. Like I said, you come here, you go into a dungeon, you have some dungeon keys, your fight points, and they get decremented as you engage with a dungeon. You get the character. Which character are you using? So here, right, you're using the ranger, character 012. So character 2. Does this character have a potion? So for example, in the game, you can buy potions. So let's say I want to a stamina potion. So let's buy this potion. Sounds good. Again, no redirect. Very interesting. Feels a bit weird to be able to send tokens without a redirect, but again, it's because it's in the same contract. So for these characters, the resting time is 26 minutes, 23 minutes. If I put this character into a dungeon, I'll probably lose, but um, I should be able to see a lower resting time. So I'll just go through it quickly. We can lock the UI. So this is all just UI stuff. Nothing to do with near happening here. I get defeated. No transactions. That is not correct, unless I spelt things incorrectly. Um, let's try that again. Because clearly we know there's transactions on the contract. And okay. Anyways, the resting time for this account is only 10 minutes because of the potion. So again, that could be something that you find interesting. Like if you create a game and you just want to figure, okay, well, how might I deploy this stuff? Again, all the code for the potions and the logic is all here. Um, and you can see, um, right, you're calling a function to, save the dungeon results. You have another function to update the character results. This information is coming from off chain, update player results, and decrement fight points. So this is all the functions that actually exist in the contract. Um, yeah, this is all just more fun stuff. In my opinion, it might be interesting to come in here, pull some stuff out, and hopefully use it in. If you're doing a game for your hackathon project, there might be some information here that's useful. Again, though, this is all in assembly script, but it might show the outline of how it works for a blockchain-based game. So it might be useful. If you have any questions, please let me know. We can direct you to the Telegram channel for Marma Gaming, where you can also talk to the developers from the game. Well, anyways, the current developers of the game. So lastly, I just wanted to go through the zero knowledge implementations that exist on Near, so ZKPs using zero knowledge proofs. Um, Basically, a zero knowledge proof is just trying to allow um, a like it's trying to create a system where you have a verifier and a prover, right? Um, the verifier wants to get something verified, and the prover needs to be able to prove an approver wants to prove something, and the verifier needs to be able to verify it quickly and cheaply, and with accuracy, right? And so um, the what the prover is basically trying to say, what you're trying to do in a ZKP is basically say that, well, if the information is true, um, you should always be able to verify it. If it's false, you shouldn't be able to fake it, and you should be, you also need to make it verifiable quickly as well. So you could always recompute the entire like the entire recompute the full proof. Sorry, sorry. You can always recompute everything and try and get to the same conclusion yourself. But the issue there would be that that would be very cost intensive. It will cost a lot, especially in the blockchain setting. So the idea of zero knowledge proofs and having them be useful for blockchain is trying to keep that cost low so that you're still verifying. And the addition of zero knowledge means that no one should find out anything about the interaction or about what you're trying to prove, um, aside from the actual information you're giving. So again, sorry, I'm usually trying to keep things as non-technical as possible, and I'm realizing that I can probably be more technical for my current audience. But anyways, to keep it really straightforward, um, let's say you're at a club trying to prove your age to this bouncer uh, who's trying to verify your information. So I am at this club. I am the prover. This bouncer here is going to verify my information. And so I'd let the bouncer needs a very quick, easy way to verify my age, understanding that I shouldn't be able to, it should be quick and easy. I shouldn't be able to lie. If it is the truth, it shouldn't, you shouldn't be able to fake it, all that fun stuff. So currently, if I give my driver's license, for example, to the bouncer, first of all, I can fake my ID, right? This can be my brother's ID. I can just, go create one. It's not that cost intensive to create a fake ID. So it wouldn't be a very good proof at all, interactive proof system. But it also wouldn't be zero knowledge whatsoever because when I hand the bouncer my ID, I'm also giving them my signature in Ontario. I'm giving them my address with my postal code. And it's funny, being in Web3 for so long, I actually feel kind of weird about showing someone my ID anywhere. Like, it should be a better way of verifying just my age. So you can imagine having a machine right in front of the bar instead, where you scan or you tap, let's say, your driver's license face down, and this machine is just going to compute the is this person above 18, yes or no. Yeah, I don't want to show them my real age. I don't want to show any extra information. I only want to show the information that I'm trying to verify, or sorry, the bouncer is trying to verify. I'm trying to prove that I'm above 18. The bouncer can see that information and let me into the bar, and there's no extra knowledge that's been leaked in this interaction. Yeah. Um, so that's generally how zero knowledge works. The proof is this lightweight proof. So, for example, that little green light that goes off when someone's above the age of 18, that might be considered like the proof, the idea that this is true every time. Now, again, the issue with the driver's license example is that you could still fake it. People use like a Where's Waldo example as well, for example. Like if you have a large Where's Waldo page, hopefully people or Where's Wally for some people. Um, how would you explain zero knowledge proof to like a fifth grader or like a young child? Well, basically, you're playing Where's Waldo, and you wanted to prove to someone that you actually found Waldo, but maybe it was a competition, and the first 10 people in the class to find Waldo will get some like a lollipop or a prize. Well, what you can do is you could have students put a piece of paper over the page where they found it, put a circle around Waldo, and then show the teacher, okay, teacher, I found Waldo here, or show the class, hey class, I found Waldo here. um, Generally easy to understand example. Obviously, some of the issues there when you're taking that basic example towards an actual computation and actual computer science is that obviously you could fake the Waldo. You can take your page, maybe edit the back of it, and put your own Waldo in there. So generally, the idea of zero knowledge proofs is you're actually using cryptography to um, I guess like discrete mathematics and all that fun stuff to be able to create these algorithmic proofs or these algorithms that create proofs that are actually able to be computed on. So yeah, a bit different than these very simple examples, but that is I guess very high level um, how how zero knowledge might work again from a very high level. So OPAC tickets or hide your cache is an example of zero knowledge in action in the near protocol ecosystem. Again, this is more for privacy than it is for scalability. So it's not really so much general computation. Like I think we see these really cool applications coming out now, where can we get some general applications of ZKPs to enhance scalability across the entire ecosystem. But this is a use case specifically for privacy that allows you to obfuscate where transactions are coming from and where funds are coming from. So very basic use case would be, let's say I had, I showed Pikes Peak how it shows if I put in my account, it shows the other linked addresses. So a very simple use case, for example, could be I want to transfer funds from Chloe.near to Chloe the dev.near or another account that I own somewhere else. Maybe HawkHacks. I'm going to do that all day. HawkHacks.near. If I wanted to transfer those funds, but I didn't want someone knowing that I was actually the manager of those two accounts or there was some link between those two accounts, what I could do is deposit that near into a platform like HydroCache. Basically, what this platform would do would generate a ticket for me, right? So this hash of my deposit proving, right? I can't fake this proof. This is a proof that someone has deposited, you know, a certain amount of near into the protocol. And so what I can do is take that hash, right? Keep it private, I suppose, and then send it to somebody else, right? So let's say Chloe.near deposited, this amount, let's say 100 near. Um, I would have this hash proving this proof that who, 100 near was deposited, and it would have all the information that's needed to withdraw that near. Now, what I can do is take that hash and I can put it anywhere, right? I can give it to a friend. I can save it for like a year, or maybe not a year, because as you'll see, OPAC tickets is being discontinued. Um, but the code is open source. You can always go back and withdraw from the contracts. The contracts exist on Near. I'll go through that in a bit. But what you can do then is, uh, deposit the hash here, have the recipient address, and then withdraw those tokens. So a pretty straightforward use case for ZK proofs and privacy, because this hash doesn't leak any additional information about who deposited the tokens or anything else that might, we might not want to share. It just shows that this amount was deposited, and whoever has the hash can withdraw. Now they do have an allow list, which is potentially unique. Um, for example, let's say you wanted to hack on this type of a project. Again, all the code is open source. This is like the repo that I'm seeing right now. It's just directly from here on Vercel. So you can pretty much, read through this and try and pretty much deploy this pretty quickly yourself. Obviously, the relayer is probably the most difficult part, but again, it is possible to run. And that would be a quite involved hackathon project and pretty fun. You'd learn a lot, in my opinion. Um, but anyways, one issue here is actually that OPAC tickets is discontinuing. There was an announcement somewhere fun that showed kind of what you'd have to do to keep using the platform. But I think, again, an interesting hackathon project could be um, a stealth deploying a solution to continue to have OPAC tickets up as like a mixer. If you don't want to have issue with regulators, maybe you do want to use an allow list saying, if you're a regulator and you find issue, please apply here to, to ban users from our platform, right? There's always a bit of regulatory issues with people trying to create these types of platforms. Um, but that could be an interesting hackathon project, or at least to showcase how, like even a guide or an outline, maybe you get halfway through it, but how would you deploy, like after June 9th, if people still have tickets and they haven't withdrawn, maybe creating a boss application with a decentralized front end that allows people to withdraw might be a useful hackathon project. So, a little more into ZK. If you find any of that interesting, again, I'm very used to taking these more complex topics and dumbing them down a bit, like Eli 5. Um, but if you'd like a non-Eli 5 explanation of zero knowledge on Near, you can join the Near ZK community group. They have, I think, weekly calls now where you can engage and learn more about what's actively happening on Near. And there is actually an application here that might give some hackathon participants an understanding of like what's next. Um, so let's say you are into ZK and you are into infrastructure and tooling. There's a tooling infrastructure committee on NEAR that has a few $1 million in funding. And this is actually from some students from very close by. So part of the team, you have Payman, who got their Masters of CS from the University of Waterloo, right across the street, I guess. You have Bowen Yu, who also has a Master's in Mathematics and Statistics from the University of Waterloo, and you have someone from the University of Loyola, Maryland. They beat us. Um, Anyways, when I was in university and I was in the NCAA tournament for playing soccer, Loyola Marymount beat us, but we still made it to the tournament, although we lost to in the first round, so that's okay. But anyways, love to see various universities interacting. So this proposal is for 85,000 US dollars. It is currently in the review stage on DevHub. DevHub is a platform that allows funding to go out for various initiatives in the near ecosystem, specifically developer ones, of course. You could see, how the funds will be used, a nice budget. Um, they're going to spend how much time they're going to spend on the project, some feedback from the team, and then some anyone in the whole community can like comments, right? So I can like that. Don't ask me again when I like things on DevHub. So now socialgood.near is liking this comment saying like, yes, consumers and applications, including near social, right, must have a data encryption option. So this proposal is for identity-based encryption, fully homomorphic encryption, and ZK libraries for Near developers. So right now, it might be a little bit difficult to build with ZK on Near. There are some uh, there is some stuff here, like you can see the circuits right here. It uses Circom. So again, if anyone here has tried using Circom, it's I guess mostly straightforward, but it is not something that most people can do in a hackathon period. Um, which again, in my opinion, is probably an issue, and in the same opinion as some other people here. So if there was just very straightforward ZK libraries to use, then you could, hack on a mixer in a weekend and just deploy that without needing to then go to Circom and write your own circuits and everything else. So again, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. You're probably not going to write circuits for until like you're in your master's or something like that. Well, at least not circuits for ZK. You might have some other fun circuits. But anyways, I will drop the link for this. Again, these links are all available yourselves. You can kind of see, well, if you're hacking on Near and you're into infrastructure and tooling, maybe what's next is kind of taking your hackathon project and continuing on it with funding from a place like DevHub. If you go to the main DevHub page, oops, let's go to proposals. You can see there's actually a few different categories. So there's events and hackathons, engagement and awareness, decentralized DevRel, universities and boot camps. A lot of you are, I mean, I think almost everyone here is university students. Maybe you want to run a boot camp. Maybe you want to help with tooling and infrastructure, like I said. So there's many ways to get involved, and I would suggest if at all you want to continue hacking on Near after the hackathon's over, there's BuildDAO and many other places, but feel free to go directly to DevHub and see how you can engage. And there's the Zero Knowledge community group that has calls weekly, if not monthly. Okay, that is the majority of my presentation. So yeah, thank you. You can scan the QR code there, get a full copy of at least these few slides. You can send QR codes to friends so they can get NFTs. Mostly the links that are here are what's important, probably, just so you can get back to like ref finance documentation, Pikes Peak API, Mint-based templates, and use Minsta and all that fun stuff. I tried to drop some links here in the chat. But yes, hopefully this was helpful for people. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at Chloe the Dev. I am Chloe the Dev on, again, most social media platforms. There's also a workshop outline I didn't really share here. Um, so there was like a little an actual definition of ZKP. So before I end, I butchered. Uh, I have a terrible memory, and I always forget these. Well, this word obviously is simple. Completeness and soundness, the actual definitions. So if a statement is true, an honest verifier will be convinced of its fact by an honest prover. So when you go to a club and you show your ID, the bouncer isn't like judging you after you show it. As long as it's a real ID, they kind of let you in. And then soundness, if you are false, this is what IDs do not have. This is actually a little more difficult, soundness part, in my opinion. If a statement is false, no cheating prover can convince an honest verifier. So if you are not 18, you should not be able to ever prove to a bouncer. And no one here in this chat has ever used a fake ID, of course. And so, not that you would know, but it does happen out there from time to time. People do use fake IDs and they lie and they cheat honest verifiers. Honest bouncers get cheated all the time. Sadly, right? So sad. Anyways, the zero knowledge part is actually, I mean, proving systems have existed for a very long time. Zero knowledge proving systems have existed for quite a bit now as well. The cool or the interesting, innovative aspect of this is generally the ability to have interactive zero knowledge proofs or even non-interactive zero knowledge proofs that exist on within the constraints of a smart contract or in the constraints of being on a blockchain. But anyways, I was supposed to be there in person. Sadly, I could not today, but tomorrow I hope to be there for judging. So again, thank you everyone. I am going to awkwardly turn off my video and mute myself now, and give it about 10, 15 seconds before I end the stream, just so that I make sure the stream actually catches everything. Sometimes if I stop my stream early, it'll just uh, yeah, stop it. So sorry. There goes me. Um, and there goes my audio in about 3 seconds. So bye all. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.